Welcome back to Faith by Fire, where we talk about real, the raw, and the redeemed. I'm Halie.
And I'm Grace.
And today we're stepping into a topic that so many of us live, but rarely speak about, the pain we hide. Today, our topic is healing from what you don't talk about. I wanted to speak on this topic today because, beginning this podcast, we sort of went down the road of opening up about our childhood and our pain, and me just telling, our story and just what we come from and the fire that we walked as young children. And I think for me, I suppressed so much of that. And I thought that I had healed from that because you don't talk about that, right? Like when you've really been through some things and you're learning how to be emotionally intelligent, I think that's like the first step is like talking about things so you can actually heal. And
Right.
I think I think I needed that more than I realized, because the reality is, like, I didn't talk about it. I thought I moved on from it. I thought, that's in the past. I don't think about it. It's just not something that I wanted to bring up or remember. But I think in order to actually heal, you do need, and to forgive, right? Like that was like a big topic, is like, you need to forgive. And that was one thing for me, is like, I didn't want to forgive some people in my past from our past. And I think this has actually helped me take a step forward in forgiving, right? So I don't know. Healing from what you don't talk about is the topic. And I think it's important because, you don't talk about trauma. So that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people don't even realize, like, because you think that you're going to bury it. And by burying it, you're really like, you're a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't even realize it, because when you do start to talk about it, you feel weight lifted off of you. You feel like 100 times better. And whether people realize it or not, for me, I didn't realize it until I started stepping out and just sharing a little bit of what I've went through. And then realizing that my story and what I went through helped so many people. And it really encouraged me to start stepping out a little bit more and a little bit more. And when we begin to step out of our comfort zone, we're just being obedient to what you feel like God wants you to do. You begin to get free, and then there's chains that break, and there's so many things, like generationally, like you don't realize that you're breaking generational curses.
Yeah, like it's God's restoration, right? So like you begin to, like, those silent battles that like you thought you had taken care of or thought you worked through. And then like when you actually start like talking about them and bringing them up, like it starts, like you said, breaking chains and bringing stuff up that honestly, like, it was hard for me to talk about some of that stuff. Like, after we were, wrapped up an episode, I think a few times it really, I went home and sort of just like, it just brought up so many other things that I thought like I had forgot about.
And I feel like that's God showing you, like, what you swept under the rug, what you hid, what you thought you were, okay with, you weren't. And he's bringing that to surface because he knows, like, he's trying to let you know, like, these are the things that
like
you
those
need to work on.
Yeah, those emotional wounds, like you still need to, like, there's doors that need to be closed.
Yeah.
There's
but
doors
in the right way.
Yeah, correct.
And when we, don't forgive, we are a prisoner. We are chaining ourselves. And also, there's this podcast, I think my father-in-law had shared it or something, and I got to listen to a little bit about it, but it was so good. And it just explains about how, like, when you don't forgive somebody, you're opening a door for yourself to be tormented. And then you have all of these, like, voices in your head and all of this stuff, and you're literally allowing a tormented spirit to come in and just play with your mind.
Yeah.
And maybe, when we step out and we start to share what we've overcame and things that even if it's childhood or if it's something that you're walking through now, we're always going to be walk if you feel like you've graduated, don't worry. God has something else for you to walk through, because we're never going to be perfect. We're always going to be moving on to the next thing. It's seasons after seasons. And so
life is growth. You're constantly growing.
You're just constantly growing, because we're in a world, that's full of sin.
Right.
And we're never going to not be falling short until, we get to heaven with him, because we live in such a dark world. But even if it's childhood, or if it's something you're walking through now, step out and just share, because by sharing, you're going to overcome. And you don't know if somebody beside you needs to hear it, or if the person on the other side is like, hey, I went through that. Let me show you how to get through this. Let me show you how to overcome.
Right. And so I guess that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit.
Yeah.
I think first, before we get too far into it, I definitely want to start open with some scripture. I felt that this went along with what we were going to talk about, our topic today. So I'll just jump into it. This is Psalms 34:18. And it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That means that God doesn't wait for you to be strong. He draws you near in the middle of the mess. And the moments you don't talk about, the tears you cry in silence, the battles you don't have words for. So today we're talking about the wounds we don't talk about. We're talking about all those things that we bury, that we minimize, that we pretend that don't hurt us anymore. But if you don't talk about them, then the healing can't happen. And I think
sometimes you don't even know that you haven't healed from something until you could just be in a conversation and just like a word can trigger you, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, if that is triggering you, you're obviously not healed from it. Right. So I think that's even good. God has this way of just bringing things to light and showing you that, hey, there's this area in your life that you need to work on, and you need to allow me to help you heal it.
Exactly. So like, I think for so long we were both, we had this like, we carried all of this like stuff for so long, and we didn't talk about it because, there's embarrassment, there's, judgment that comes along with, baggage, judgment, like all these things that come along with it. So like, really, whenever you're younger, it is a silent battle. And you carry these things because you don't know who you can open up to. Like you don't
know where your safe
space is. Yeah. You're not seasoned enough to know that, because the people that were supposed to be your safe space aren't your safe space. So then you start to build these walls, and like, trust becomes an issue. So, I think for me, at least for a long time, like I carried all this stuff because like, one, I didn't know who I could truly trust, but also two, like I always had this mentality of like, people don't really care about your story. They don't care. They don't really care. And that may be true in some instances, but if you're surrounding yourself around people that actually love you and
you
want to help you,
yourself around people, the right people.
The right people, community, like the community.
You have to have a good community.
Yeah. The people that you surround yourself around, they will care and they will help you through those things. So it's just like who you surround yourself around, right?
Like they say, like, if you are hanging around a group of people that like to gossip, you're going to find yourself gossiping. If you're hanging around a bunch of people that like to drink and like to party, then you're going to find yourself doing the very things that they're doing. And it's just, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to be? What do I want people to look at me and think? Or more importantly, what do I want my kids to look at me and think? I want them to be proud of me. What do you want your kids to do?
Right.
Do you want your kids to do the very thing that you're doing? Okay.
Because kids pick up on that.
Yeah. They're going to do what they see you do, not what you tell them to do.
Exactly.
And I think that's very important also when you're surrounding yourself with certain people, especially if you have a family, if you have kids. And there comes a time when you just have to put like childish things and like things of the past or old ways behind you, because
you have to grow up.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to, there's a point in time where you have to realize it's time for you to grow up. And I think that can be hard for some people.
It can, because I feel like if you're anything like me, I feel like I want to save everybody. and I want to take them with me, but not everybody is going to be in the place to go where you're supposed to go. You can't take everybody with you. And if you try to take somebody with you and they're not ready, you might miss what God has for you.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own seasons and their own timing.
And if they're meant to be in your life, they'll, even if, say it's your time to take a step this way, they'll meet you eventually. You'll
or
meet
maybe they're supposed to be in your life for a season.
Right.
But I do believe God does pull people away from you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll bring them back later on, but I don't know. You have to trust God, and it does hurt because if it's like a family friend or if it's like family members, even family members, God has to pull you away from somebody in order to take you to where he wants you to be at.
Right.
And if we don't allow that, we might miss what he has for us.
Right. So I think maybe you need to ask, like, what do you need from God right now? Like, what do you pray? What for? What do you ask him for to help guide you and direct you and maybe help pave the path for that?
Right.
I don't know. Like, you don't have to pretend that you're okay. God sees you. God hears you. He's closer than you think. So I think
you'll never be able to fully carry, like we want to think that we can carry it, and we want to think that we can carry everybody else's stuff on top of ours and just be everything to everybody. But in reality, we can't even carry our own stuff, and we need to hand it over to God.
Exactly.
Because truly the only person that can help us and help us get through our struggles is God. And people don't realize until they have that feeling. And it's like, whenever you, like sharing your testimony, whenever you stand up and stand out and just step out in faith and just obedience, and then you would just be like, I just feel like you begin to feel like weight lifted off of your shoulders. And it's like a feeling that you can't even
explain.
Yeah, until you're there. And then I just feel like it just keeps drawing you and you just want more and more.
So I guess like let's try to what's some examples that we could help people know, what would you say helped you finally open up and start feeling like you were ready to start talking about some of these things?
I want to say it was about 5 or 6 years ago, and we had just started going to church in this little church. And the pastor that was pastoring over us, I really looked up to her. She was really gifted. And I just felt like everything that she would say and everything that she would speak into my life really spoke to me. And I knew that a lot of things that nobody would know, I've never told anybody. And just about how like God kept his hand on me, about how I shouldn't be here today. Like, if you've listened to the podcast, a few episodes, like there's a lot of times where as a baby, like, from having parents that were like drug addicts or not there, like I had near-death experiences. And so I never talked about this and never really went into detail. A lot of people didn't really know a lot of things. I feel like God had spoke to her and she would like share that with me, right? And so I knew that was God because nobody ever knew any of those things. And so I felt like he was just drawing me closer. There's a draw. There's just a draw. And one day I felt the urge to get up and it was share my testimony. And I think it was right after I had Isaiah. He wasn't too old, and we had almost lost him. He had stopped breathing when he was little. It was a whole thing. And so I was just going through a lot, and we were just always in the hospital and sleep studies, and he was on like a breathing machine and a monitor, and just it's scary walking through something like that, especially when it's your child, because it's like you would give your life for your child. And so God was just really doing something in me. He was like building my faith, and I decided, I don't know why, I had this urge to get up, and God just had me share a little bit about my childhood, a little bit about what I was walking through with Isaiah, and change. Just like I just felt like so free, like freedom that I've never felt before. And I know that it was God, because I have never felt more freedom than I did in that moment.
Was it just like a weight lifted off your shoulders?
Yeah. And then ever since then, I just feel like I wanted to just like a little bit more, a little bit more. I wanted to know more about the word. I wanted to know more about how to get closer to God. Like God was just teaching me things, and he was
Pulling you in.
pulling me in and just giving me revelation of the word. And it's like, you don't realize, like, if you ask God, he will show it to you. We have to just be in a place to listen and to receive. And that's just kind of where I was. And ever since then, and I might not get it right all the time. I'm not saying like there aren't days where I don't open up my Bible, because I have 4 kids and life gets so crazy, but I know that by his mercy that he's still with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what helped me finally open up, because like you said,
You were in a season to hear it.
well, it's not even hear it, is like I've never been one. I'm always one to try to fix everyone else.
Yeah.
But I always felt like I was a burden to others.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I think that goes along with our childhood, and that's really just generational.
Yeah. So, and
That's
then like also
rejection, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a seed of rejection.
Yeah, and I also always, like I said, felt like people didn't really care. You know, people ask you if you're okay. People ask you,
but I feel like your brain is trained to say, "I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm all right."
Right, and then also like, you know, people say they'll be there for you and listen to you, but then as like you're trying to open up, you can tell that they're either annoyed, they don't understand, and so it just goes back to like, you don't want to burden people, but then you start to realize like, are these really my people? You know?
Yeah.
So
I think the enemy does that too, to plant something in your head. Yeah, obviously rejection, but they don't care. So don't open up and talk about it, because when you open up and talk about it, you know, that's your testimony. That's how you can overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has a way of playing games, you know, with you and trying to teach you that that's what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know that then.
Yeah. But I think, so, you know, all of that. And you're right. We didn't know. No, you know, we didn't know then. You're learning, you're young, you're just figuring stuff out. But really was you this past summer asking if I wanted to step out and do this podcast. And
Yeah.
I think that was, I really didn't want to, but I did it. I'm glad I did it. I think it's grown our relationship tremendously. I think that it has opened your eyes to some things that you didn't really know happened or maybe understood.
Yeah, give me closure a little bit too.
And so I'm happy that I did that for you. I think that it definitely opened some wounds for me.
Maybe things you didn't know you needed to heal from.
Yeah. And I think it did bring back, like, a lot of emotions came flowing back in. I think some like I don't want to say depression, but like there was some dark days for me.
Yeah.
You know, there was like days that I didn't want to answer my phone, or I would try to just come up with an excuse not to do something, or so. But I do think I needed that. So I think that's what finally helped me open up. And like, obviously, like we talked about, you know, about some stuff, and I'm glad we did, because I do think that it is a step forward for me and helping forgive some people. So
let me ask you, when you talk about forgive,
I think there's one person that I haven't fully forgiven, and that was our dad. And I don't think that I'm going to get emotional talking about it, because there's still some things that I haven't fully talked about. But like, I think that everything that he put our family through, our mother through, me through, I think that I just had all of like this hate and resentment and just anger. I just had all this anger built up, and I didn't think that I would ever be able to forgive him. But I think I am a step closer to being open to do that.
Yeah.
Because he was a very troubled person, and there had to be something happen to him in his life to get him to that point. So
yeah,
it's like,
We don't think about those things either, because if we can sit here and talk about generational, we can say, XYZ happened to me, but do we stop and think what
About
happened to him?
Right. And I think that opened my eyes a little bit is, am I ready to fully forgive him? I don't think so. I think I'm still working through that, but it has opened my eyes a little bit more.
Is it what you know about forgiveness is what opened your eyes? Like, you know that you need to forgive him, but you're working through trying to forgive him.
Yeah.
Like, you're working with God on trying to forgive him.
Yes. Yeah. And and I'm going to sound so corny saying this, but also I think I'm a little bit scared. I think one of my biggest things is whenever that time in life comes where you do finally
come face to face with it.
Yeah. With God, say it's your time to go.
Yeah.
I think my thing is he may be there. God may have forgiven him for all of this stuff. Maybe in the last moments of his life, he asked God to save him and forgive him. And maybe he's going to be there. And I think that scares me because I don't want to see him even there. But I know that I have to have closure.
Well, I think though, we are in flesh, so we have feelings and emotions and all of this stuff. And God's working that out in us here, because everything that we get wrong, Jesus already perfected before he went to the cross. And so when we get to heaven, you think you're going to have all of these feelings and all of this stuff, but we won't feel all of that.
And I know that, but I think for me here is I have to work. I think that was the thing that got me the most is I know that you're honestly I know that you're probably going to be reunited with your family and all your loved ones. And you're not going to think it's not going to be all the bad things. It's going to be a whole new life and all of the good things. Right. And so I think I opened my eyes to that. And I don't want to be the one that's not going to get into heaven because I didn't forgive somebody.
Yeah.
Or move past something. But
I think about that very often.
But then he was able to get there because he finally, and so I was just I can't stoop down to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you're doing a good job. God already knew that you would be where you are at this very moment in life, and he gives us grace that we don't even deserve, and that's what makes him so, we don't deserve how good God is to us, truly. Every day we fail. We're going to fail other people. Other people are going to fail us, but it's how we handle it is what matters.
Just one day at a time.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I think thinking before you react.
Yeah,
you really
and sometimes it's hard to do that because, we are flesh. Our flesh wants to just automatically, our emotions take over and then we just react. Sometimes when you're in the moment and there's so much going on, it's hard to stop and think before you react. And that's the reality of it. But
you can get carried away.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, so I feel like I got off topic a little bit, but I think you are what helped me open up. And I am grateful for that.
Yeah. I'm grateful for you too. And it sucked, I think earlier when we were talking about even family, God pulls you away from family too for seasons, or whether that be for a season or whether that be for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And not only did he pull me away from, certain other people, or just not even just people in general, he pulled me away from things that I would do, because I wouldn't be able to heal and do what I'm doing now or what he's called for me, and
or maybe
fulfill
be that positive influence for somebody. You had to get yourself right so you could be that positive light in someone's life, and you couldn't do that.
You can't do
being
that
around some of the people that you were around and doing some of the things that you were doing.
Yeah. And it's nothing against anybody else. It's just, God had a plan, and in order for me to do, what he wanted me to do, I had to be in the right mindset. And sometimes we have to, get pulled away for a season, and that's okay because, we have to be able to grow. It's all about growth. And what I was trying to say is he pulled us away from each other.
Yeah.
And how long did we not talk?
It was probably a year and a half. I mean, there was like a conversation.
We would talk once in a while, but it was like awkward. It was just, there wasn't like a true relationship. I mean, a lot of things happened that we probably would want to share with each other because it's like things in life that are exciting, and it's like milestones, right? Milestones. And we didn't share those with each other. It's sad looking back, but even family, he pulls you away from family, and we are a very good example of that.
And I don't think ours was because either one of us were doing anything wrong. I think we were just at different points in life, and maybe we were understanding what the other one was going through. We were being selfish, honestly. Like, I was probably
prideful, maybe.
And prideful. Like, I can admit that, like, there was some situations where I was being selfish and not thinking about maybe how you were feeling, or
we don't see other people's perspectives or point of views, and we're both guilty of that.
Yeah.
But we are growing together, and we're learning together, and we're learning how to have a relationship, and God's teaching us He's bringing restoration to our relationship.
Yeah.
And really what it narrows down to, the bigger picture is that we are all that we have left, and we really need to come together.
Yes.
And our kids need to be together, and they need to grow up together, and we need to show them what family's supposed to look like, because nobody ever showed us what family looked like. We didn't know. There wasn't a foundation there. There wasn't, there was no fruit.
No, and I think that's why I am so big on my family now. So, like, my husband and I, we are 100% our family. Everything that we do is for, like, our children. I know you and Austin are the same way too. And I think, like, we're just family oriented. Like, we just want to show our kids everything that we didn't have, right? Yeah. So, like, and I think that, I don't know, that's a chain breaker, right? Like, we're breaking chains, and we're doing better than our parents did. And I think that's all that.
I think that in itself is a blessing for our children, because they will never know what we had to walk through. They will never feel what we had to feel, and so whether they realize it or not, kids will be kids, and kids can be, they don't understand things because they've never walked through it. And that's exactly what we want, obviously, but they'll never know. They'll never truly know how blessed they are. And to me, that is a blessing.
Mm-hmm. And I think, so, like, I guess to tie all of this in is, like, talking about, like, the silent traumas, and talking about those things, opening up about them, and finally getting some closure and healing from them is going to help your relationships. Like, it's helped our relationship. It's going to help. It's helped. Even in this season, I feel like I've become a little bit better of a parent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I've opened my eyes a little, like, to some things, and
and we're always going to be learning.
Yeah, and growing,
constantly
right?
growing and learning. We're not perfect.
So I just think that healing changes you, and it helps you grow in your relationships, whether it be with family, friends.
You see the fruit of this. You are seeing the fruit of all of the things that just in how many months has it been?
It's probably been since it was like
May. May, June, July, August, October, November, December.
I love how you're counting.
9. I know. 9 months. I'm so sorry. I just had to do the math, but I did the math out loud. Yeah, but in that 9 months, you're seeing the fruit.
Yeah.
Of what God's doing.
Yeah.
He's producing all of this good fruit, and this is what is gonna make a difference in generations to come, and your kids' kids, and
right. It's even helped like my marriage a little bit. Like, I feel like communication, I mean, that's something that you can always work on in a marriage. And I think Jeff and I, like, we've been together so long, we've went through so many different things together.
You get comfortable.
Right. But, like, I think that communication-wise, I think that we respect each other a little bit more. Our conversations are more calmer. Even though I want to scream at him, I'm more reserved, calm.
You're more mature.
Yeah. I think that it's helped our, like, communication within our marriage a little bit. So, like, that's just by me taking a step and talking about like my traumas and my things, and helping me realize that I want to be better than I used to be. I want to be better than the people that we were around when we were younger. And I just want to show up for my people,
Yeah,
So
that's good. And I just want to say that the things that you don't talk about or sweep under the rug, or, you think that you have to cover for everybody, could be the very thing that somebody needs to hear to be able to, it could literally save their life. Like, you don't know. A lot of people struggle in silence, and the enemy comes in and messes with their mind. And, that can bring a lot of things that, I mean, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but like, I struggled with suicidal thoughts, for a long time. And
I never realized that.
yeah, I did. I mean, there's probably, and that's a story for another time, but I struggled with all of those things because I just had so much bundled up inside of me, and I didn't know how to release it. I didn't know who to release it to. I didn't even know that I would obviously cry out to God, but I didn't have a relationship with God in the way that I do now. And I couldn't hear him the way that I do now. And a lot of people could be struggling with that. And you don't know what, just by coming out and saying, hey, this is what I went through. And you don't know, just by doing that, somebody seeing that, oh, they've overcame that, I can do the same thing. Like, sometimes people don't even realize it's a testimony, and it's a testimony, and it does make a difference, and your testimony does matter.
It does.
No matter what it is.
It does.
Let the enemy tell you that it doesn't matter, or, oh, well, that's really silly. Because in reality, a lot of people probably struggle with what you struggle with, and it could help them.
Thank you, Ray. Well, I think this has been a great conversation today.
Yeah, me too.
So I think we're going to close. We want to thank you guys for spending this time with us today. We hope that this episode spoke to you. We hope that, if there is suppressed trauma, emotions, things that are just weighing on your heart, we hope that this spoke to you, resonates. You don't have to feel alone. You don't have to stay silent to be strong. I think I struggled with that for a long time. Like, you think you're being strong, but really
the enemy would want you to be silenced. He wouldn't want you to speak up and say anything. So.
Right. God is closer than you think he is, and he's ready to walk with you and help you through that. So we just want to thank you for joining us today on this episode of Faith by Fire. And until next time, I'm Halie.
And I'm Grace.
I think that was good.
It was. I was connected in prayer. I really felt to do that.